scores! Stutzla, one-timer, scores!
Great save made by Gustafsson. Right here, what an awesome pass through the slot, onto the stick of Batherson. Kachuk in tight up, let's get going, scores! Brady Kachuk wins it in overtime for Ottawa.
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. You know, the other day, TSN's Pierre LeBrun made a really interesting report. He reported that Chicago is currently listening to offers on star winger and 40-goal scorer Alex DeBrincat. And, you know, obviously Ottawa has made it very well known that they're looking to upgrade their top six going into next season. So let's talk. Is Alex DeBrincat an actual viable trade candidate for the Ottawa Senators? Well, last year, DeBrincat had 82 games played with 41 goals, 37 assists for 78 points total. That is a fantastic stat line. That's nearly a point per game. Now, in 368 games in the National Hockey League, he has 160 goals and 307 points total. So DeBrincat, in his short career so far, less than 400 games in the National Hockey League, has had an incredible career with many, many goals and a lot of points, which shows that he's just going to be continually getting better. So for a young team like Ottawa, does this make sense? Let's talk about it. When discussing Alex DeBrincat's success in his young career with the Chicago Blackhawks, you have to mention the fact that he's paired with winger and one of the best playmaking wingers in the National Hockey League, Patrick Kane. Now, I bring this up for one reason only. The fact that he's paired with a guy like Patrick Kane means he's open to take a shot whenever he can, thanks to the playmaking abilities of Patrick Kane. Now, I bring this up because if DeBrincat's traded to the Ottawa Senators, who do you think he's going to be paired with? You guessed it, Tim Stutzla. And you know what? What's Tim Stutzla known for? That's right, his playmaking. This means if Ottawa traded for Alex DeBrincat and paired him with Tim Stutzla, this would make it a seamless transition over to the Ottawa Senators for Alex, as he'd still be playing in that sniper role. Now imagine over the next 5 to 10 years of Senators hockey, where Ottawa's second line is consisting of Alex DeBrincat and Tim Stutzla. Chef's kiss. That would give Ottawa one of the most elite, lethal top 6 forward cores in the Eastern Conference by far. Now, DeBrincat is also a right winger, which is a position the Senators have been looking to fill on their second line for many, many years now. And I truly think with the recent news that Connor Brown may want to test the open market after this upcoming season, which may force Ottawa to trade him this offseason, that the Sens are more inclined to look for a right winger for that second line and will keep Alex Formenton instead on the left wing for that second line moving forward, unless they bring in a guy like Fiala or whatever. So truly what this does is it makes sense for Ottawa to bring in a guy like Alex DeBrincat, because if Connor Brown wants to test the open market, that likely means he's going to be out of the price range for Ottawa, because Connor Brown I love Connor Brown, but in a realistic scenario, in a realistic world, he's more of a third liner, a complementary player, not in your top 6. And that's no disrespect to Connor Brown. He's a fantastic player, one of Ottawa's best point getters in the last couple of years. But in reality, if Connor Brown's on your third line, you've got a really, really good team. And that's really where I think Ottawa wants him to be. And Connor Brown's going to want to be paid as a second-line winger. And I don't think Ottawa's going to be willing to do that. So because of that, I think Formenton's a cheaper option to go on that left wing, which opens up that right wing. Now, once again, if you need to lose Connor Brown, might as well make it an upgrade instead of a loss. So if you're going to lose and trade Connor Brown to get some assets back instead of losing him in the next year or so, Alex DeBrincat is exactly what you want to do in filling that second line right wing role. Now, we'll discuss this in a few minutes. It's going to cost Ottawa quite a bit to get Alex DeBrincat. And once again, I don't want Ottawa to trade Connor Brown for like draft picks or prospects. If Ottawa's trading Connor Brown, it's to bring in an NHL player for right now. Sort of similar to that Nick Paul trade. And we'll discuss Connor Brown in a couple of weeks, probably. I'll put out a video for that. But my point is, if Ottawa is looking at a scenario where they lose Connor Brown, who has been their second line right winger for a few years now, and like I said, one of their top point getters, they're going to want to look to upgrade that position, because at the left wing, they got options, like I just said, Alex Formenton, who's a 20-goal scorer. Now, once again, going back to Tim Stutzla, Stutzla is a 20-year-old, and he's still developing his game. And just last year, he had 58 points amidst his second year in the National Hockey League, which was a breakout season for him. By the way, in those 58 points in 79 games played, 22 of those were goals. A lot of assists for Tim Stutzla, as he loves to pass the puck. And now, you know what? That was also without consistent wingers throughout the season, as the Sens took a few months, frankly, until I think it was January or late December where Ottawa officially put together Formenton, Stutzla, and Brown consistently. It took Ottawa a couple months, 2-3 months there at least, to really find a consistent group of guys to put with Stützle. But, that just shows how good Stützle is at such a young age. He's only going to get better from here. 58 points, 22 goals, 79 games played. At the age of 20, he's still developing, he's still growing into that body, and he didn't have consistent wingers. So the sky is the limit for this kid. So now you put him with a guy like Alex DeBrincat, one of the league's top lethal weapons, one of the league's upcoming superstars, one of the best snipers in the game right now. That would truly transcend Tim's game to the next level and would give the Ottawa Senators 2 legitimate elite forward lines. And I also want to mention this. DeBrincat would also tremendously help Ottawa's power play. Regardless if he's on the first or second wave of the power play, he would be a huge help for Ottawa, as he had a career high of 14 power play goals last season with the Chicago Blackhawks. So not only does he give Ottawa a legitimate scoring threat on that second line, he also helps Ottawa in terms of special teams on that power play. So for more reasons than one, you got Tim Stützle getting his game to another level with an elite player like Alex DeBrincat. You give Ottawa better special teams. And you also bring in a 40-goal scorer like DeBrincat, which means Ottawa's offense as a whole is going to be much, much better. And I also want to say this. Ottawa's first line, you got Tkachuk, you got Norris, and you got Batherson. Now, Batherson, if he stayed healthy, that's a 30-goal scorer. Norris, 35 goals. Tkachuk, 30 goals. That second line, Stützle, 8 goals away from 30. DeBrincat's a 40-goal scorer. If Ottawa brings in a guy like Alex DeBrincat, that's 5 out of your 6 wingers with potentially 30 goals next year. I would think Stützle might get 30 with DeBrincat next year. And then you also got Formenton, that third or that 6th option in that 2 lines on that left wing with 20 goals last year. You know what? If you have 6 players in your top 6 with 20 plus goals on average per year, that is beautiful to see for any team, especially for your Ottawa Senators. So you know what? Well, let's talk about it now, because this is not going to be easy for Ottawa. It's going to cost them a lot. But if Ottawa can give up the assets and acquire a guy like Alex DeBrincat, that truly would transcend this rebuild into the next step of contention. In order for the Senators to acquire a talent like Alex DeBrincat, Ottawa would likely have to give up this year's 7th overall selection, a forward prospect like Shane Pinto or Ridley Gregg, a defensive prospect like Lassie Thompson or Jacob Bernard-Docker, and possibly another first-round selection or more, like a second-round pick. And you know what? I get it. If Ottawa is unwilling to give up so many young player assets like Shane Pinto or Ridley Gregg or Thompson or whatever, they're lucky they have so many draft picks in the next 2 drafts. In the next 2 years, Ottawa has 19 draft selections available, which gives Ottawa a lot of draft capital to use in a potential package for a player like Alex DeBrincat, which, by the way, it's not going to be a one-for-one for a guy like DeBrincat. Chicago's going to want a lot of assets coming back for this young superstar, which means Ottawa, thanks to the 19 draft selections they have in the next 2 years, has a lot of avenues to make this work. They got a lot of capital to work with. And you know what? I'm all about going all in on a player like Alex DeBrincat. He's a young superstar. He's a 40-goal scorer, and he would transcend Ottawa's forward core from good to elite. And you know what? If they can bring in a guy like Alex DeBrincat, I say do it. Do it however you can. But I do hope the Senators don't have to trade Ridley Gregg. I truly think this kid has the potential to be a star in this league. And you know what? If Ottawa can trade a guy like, and I think Thompson, JBD, Pinto, they're all great players. JBD, a friend of the show. But if Ottawa can keep Pinto and Gregg and only give up one of Thompson and JBD and trade 2 first-round picks, I mean, that's a win, in my opinion. If you're able to give up the 7th overall selection, another first-round pick, and one of Thompson, JBD, and like another player other than Pinto or Gregg, that's a win for me. Now, obviously, I don't think that's possible. I think Chicago's going to want to ask for a lot, and I think Pinto or Gregg will have to be a part of this package, or even a guy like Tyler Boucher. But once again, if Ottawa's somehow able to pull this off with majority of the package being draft capital, that's a win and a slam dunk for the Ottawa Senators. Not saying that's going to happen, but what we've been seeing, and Pierre LeBrun has been reporting, is that the Chicago Blackhawks want a big package in return with a lot of young top assets. Ottawa has that to give up, so let's see what they can do. So what's the verdict? Well, in reality, it's possible thanks to the Sens' plethora of assets, but Ottawa will have to be willing to pay a lot in terms of real money spent next season. DeBrincat, in the final year of his contract, is owed $9 million of pure salary, no salary bonuses, next year, which means Ottawa would have a lot of money to give up for a player like DeBrincat, on top of the assets they would also have to give up. Now, also, Ottawa needs to be certain DeBrincat is willing to extend with Ottawa long term because, like I just said, it's the last year of his contract next year. He's going to be an RFA, which means at the minimum, he's probably going to be here for 2 years if traded for next year, and of course the year after that, because worst case, they qualify him and sign him for 1 more year as an RFA. He's not going to sit out. They don't do that in hockey like in NFL or whatever. But that doesn't mean he's going to be here long term. Once again, Ottawa needs to be assured that DeBrincat will come here and sign long term. Otherwise, why are you going to trade like 2 first-round picks and a couple of young potential stars in like Pinto, Gregg, or Thompson, whatever, like some of your best young prospects for a guy like DeBrincat who's going to leave in like a year or two? It just won't happen. So if Ottawa's going to trade for a guy like DeBrincat, they need to know that DeBrincat is willing to stay here long term and wants to stay here long term too. So overall, Ottawa is a dark horse to bring in a guy like DeBrincat. They're definitely the dark horse location in the National Hockey League. But the idea is certainly one that makes a lot of sense for both teams. It's all up to Alex DeBrincat and whether or not he wants to be an Ottawa Senator. Besides that, thank you all for watching. Appreciate your support. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you think. Should Ottawa bring in Alex DeBrincat? Do you think my trade scenarios are off? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Besides that, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly of all, turn the notification bell on so you get notified whenever we upload a new video. Besides that, thank you all for watching. Appreciate your support. Go Sens, go.